And we are live. Welcome to, I think, Jay, you said episode 76.
76. Yeah.
76 of the RetroSlot podcast. This week we'll be featuring Die Hard plus a lot of news. It's been
Lot.
like a month since we've done the show.
That'll happen.
And, a busy month announcement wise. A lot of cool stuff. Plus, CES is starting. So, like, there's some stuff coming out at CES that we'll be mentioning a couple of those things. Pretty cool month. How you been, Jay?
The holidays. Woo! Sick kids. Man, my daughter, I'm pretty sure she's on virus number 4 at this point in the last month and a half. Just
Oh,
like a straight, since a week before Thanksgiving to now, she's been like sick the whole time.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, man, that's sad.
so I haven't been able to stream like at all during the holidays because of that and some other things. And just, holidays are fun, but with little kids, you wanna spoil them, right?
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, then they act spoiled, and you're like, "Why did I do this?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have bought so much for the kids," or, like, tell the family not to buy them gifts. No, we want the kids to have special time for the holidays, but it's hard. I don't know. Do you get that with your kids, like, when you're giving them stuff and they're just acting a little ungrateful and you're just like, "Why?"
I I think I got lucky. No, I didn't really ever really experience that. There was a post-Christmas kinda hangover a little bit sometimes where
Mhm.
you'd see, like, hundreds of dollars of presents just collecting dust.
Yeah, we
Like,
have piles.
didn't quite nail it with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But, no, my kids actually, for the most part, I thought it they never really felt that spoiled. They're good kids. I got lucky.
Yeah. I think, you know, you I don't know if the word inherit, did you, become part of their lives a little later, or were they,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
young?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were 9 years old when I first met 'em.
Okay. So, our kids are 7.5 and almost 4. So, actually, our daughter is really good for the most part. Even with, like, clothes and stuff, she gets excited. But our son, he has this idea that whatever he opens is gonna be the best thing in the world,
Yeah.
and then it's not. It's like something small, like a Minecraft beanie or something. He'll just like look at it and he'll just like kind of throw it on the ground. I'm like, buddy,
Not
like
digging
we
on
gotta
the Minecraft beanies, huh?
we gotta practice gratitude. So that's been my whole thing. Like, just like, hey, it just takes practice, right?
Yeah,
Even if you don't love something, it's just like say thank you and give them a hug or whatever it is.
yeah.
And
It's the
if
thought
it's
that counts, you little bastard.
exactly. He doesn't quite realize that yet, but
Yeah,
I think being out of the routine of school and all that stuff has kind of threw him off a little bit because he has some stuff going on. But
sure.
he's a good kid and he means well and he feels bad afterwards. And we try not to be too hard on him, but it hurts my heart to see those reactions because I'm like, we went to a lot of trouble or the family went to a lot of trouble to get this, that, all the, with my mom's health stuff. She sent some things over, and
Yeah,
so it's been heavy for sure. But they're good kids. It's just trying to teach them that gratitude
sure.
part difficult.
What'd you get?
What did I get?
What did Santa bring you for Christmas?
I honestly wasn't expecting anything. I told my wife, "Don't get me anything," because I've been full blown J off the deep end Mercari eBay mode
Okay, sure.
for the past 2 months.
Yeah,
I'm
feel a
like,
little
I
guilt
don't
about that.
I'm like, "I don't deserve anything." Uh,
Get a
just
stocking full of coal.
get me like a candy bar or something, I'll be fine.
Sure.
I've spent enough money, like I'm spending money, but I'm also like selling stuff. It's not like full in it, these are
Yeah,
like quote unquote assets or whatever. They're not like depreciating assets or anyways, it's a long story. The stuff that I get, it holds value for the most part and all that stuff. So it's not like I'm just like frivolously spending money. And I will like sell old stuff because that's my thing. Like I have like a fund. I have to make sure that I have enough in the fund to buy new stuff. But yeah, I've been buying a lot and selling a lot. But my wife, she went to a pawn shop. And the whole point of going to the pawn shop, so my son's big request for the last 6 months, he loves rocks and stones and, like, gemstones and all that kinda stuff, like, has learned, like, has been breaking geodes and just, like,
oh, cool.
into all of that stuff, right? So we go to rock shows and we get him little things here and there. And his big request was, I want a real diamond as big as Santa can give me, right?
Okay.
Because he got
I
he
didn't
had
see that
gotten
coming.
yeah, no. So he had gotten in the past like these tiny little, like those candles that have teeny tiny diamonds in them. He's gotten a handful of those
Okay.
from somebody that just gave them to him because they knew that it's like, yeah, they're real diamonds, but they're like specks, right? They're
Yeah,
tiny.
like on my wife's wedding ring.
They're worth like $5 to $10 or something like that, maybe.
Right.
And like on my West Riding ring, smaller than that, like glitter. It's like the size of a glitter fleck. And so my wife first went to a jewelry store and she was like, "Well, we can get like a tenth of a carat for like 250." I'm like, "Nope, no,
Yeah.
it's too expensive. It's too small. No, that's just too much." And you know, something that size is going to lose value immediately after buying. So she's like, "What if I went to like a pawn shop?" I'm like, "That's a fantastic idea,
It is a good
actually."
idea.
So she went to a pawn shop. She found it's like a fourth of a carat and about 2 ounces of 14 karat gold for $150.
Okay.
And his grandparents chipped in $50.
Okay.
So it was $100, right? Which for a big Christmas gift, that's not crazy. And it actually has value. Like, you know what I mean? Like the gold in it is almost $70 in gold,
Okay.
plus this 4/10 of a carat uh princess cut diamond. Like it's a straight up solitaire diamond ring.
Yeah. He's set
But it
for when he gets married and he gets engaged. He's like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
this one in
Yeah, I
pocket.
got
I've
I
been
got
holding
it.
on to this one, ready
It's
to go.
probably real yeah, it's probably realistically worth more than we spent on it. But so I'm going to the long story of why my wife went to the pawn shop, right? So she went to the pawn shop to get that. She ended up buying herself a Yamaha guitar, an acoustic one, because she's wanted one for
Cool.
years. And I bought her an electric guitar and Rocksmith back in the day. She's like, "I wanted an acoustic one." I'm like, "I didn't know that. I was just trying to help." So I was like, "All right, I'm done with the guitar thing." So she spent like $70 on like a $300 Yamaha guitar. And that was a good
Nice.
deal. What I didn't know, and I discovered Christmas morning, was that she also found an electric drum set.
Oh, fun.
Because I had been talking off and on for years about like, yeah, I eventually want to get like an electric drum set or something, but
Yeah.
we don't have the space, there's like nowhere to put it. And I wake up and I start walking out like all groggy. The kids and the wife are up and stuff. And I walk through, we have like two routes. One is to kind of the kitchen back door and the other one's through the dining room. And I start walking through the dining room and I see this stool and I immediately know it's a drum stool. And she's like, "Wait, what? And I'm like, "Wait, why do we have a drum stool, honey?" And she's like, "Well, come around over here." And I walk around and there's this like electronic drum set up that she had like it was not set up correctly or anything like that, but because she was frantically trying to set it up in the
Yeah.
morning.
Did
It
she
wasn't like
wrap
it's
each individual drum?
no, it was in the garage and I didn't even know it. Like she had
Oh,
put like a
nice.
box over it. And it's not like a super high end one or anything, but it's a good like it's a solid intro electric drum set. And like apparently the drum stool is worth like more than she spent on the whole thing. And
Wow.
so I was pretty happy with what I got and
Yeah.
also what she had spent on it because we talk about that stuff.
Sure.
But so yeah, I got a drum set and I wasn't expecting anything at all. So it
That's
was
fun.
hugely surprised.
You should do a
Sorry
drum
for
set
the long
stream.
story. People are saying that. I'm like, one, we don't have the space. We're still trying to figure out where to put it.
Uh-huh.
Two, like the amount of setup or something like that.
Sure.
Three, I'm not good at drum set. Like
That's what
I'm a
makes it
good
fun, Jay.
I'm good at drumming, but a very specifically rudimental like marching drumline drumming, right?
Yeah.
Like I reached the peak of the mountain in that area, but drum set is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like just really trying to break stuff down. I have the metronome going, like really just
Sure.
like trying to teach myself the basics and stuff like
That's a
that.
really fun gift. What That'll be fun to learn drumming. You
Yeah.
got to figure out a place
And the
to set it
kids
up,
have been
but
doing
that's
it.
really
The
cool.
kids have been like wanting to play on it, and my
Yeah.
daughter fell off and bonked her head, and that was the whole
Oops.
thing. But she's been into it. She's like got the headphones on. She's like banging around.
That's awesome.
Uh, Yeah. What about you? Did you get anything after my 10-minute story about the drum set?
So I got some great stuff. I got a new sound bar. Our sound bar was kind of on the fritz in like our main living room area.
Mhm.
You know, it's hard to buy gifts for adults because like if you need something, you just buy it. But like this
Right.
sound bar was, I'll tell you the problem with the sound bar. On occasion, you know, you'd hit the
The
volume
new
up
one or the
button,
old one?
the old one. So it was like a Sonos sound bar. You know what a Sonos is?
Oh,
It's like the
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whole
yeah.
home like
Yeah.
sound thing. So if you hit the volume up button on the TV, which previously controlled the volume just fine on the Sonos, sometimes if you tapped the volume up button, it would just feel like you never stopped hitting up and just like rocket in volume to max volume, and then vice versa down to lowest volume. So and like it would just keep doing that for like the next couple of minutes, which made TV basically unwatchable. So
Sure.
what the workaround is, since it's, you know, there's also surround speakers on either side of the couch, you could just reach over and touch the volume knob on the surround speaker. So it was
Defeats the
like,
purpose, though.
what's that?
Defeats the purpose of the whole, like, wireless Sonos setup, right?
Well, I mean, it's right there though. It's like it's literally I could just reach over and like feel the
What?
volume. So the new speaker was like $1,000, and I'm like, you know, I'll
Ooh.
get to this. Maybe I'll wait for it to go on sale, but it's not like pressing on my mind. So it was a really nice gift to get the new one
Mhm.
and just like have it done. And since I got a new speaker, I had to get a new TV. I got one of those new the 120 hertz OLEDs, which is amazing to have that in my living room now, to have
Nice.
120 frames per second in my living room. And I actually played Liza P at 40 hertz because that's like a new compatibility that I have with the PlayStation 5. So that, you know, like that whole setup is new, even though I bought the TV myself, having the new sound bar, having new tech to play with. But what I asked everybody in my family for was merino wool socks, right? I wanted like a full, like laundry to laundry day worth of merino wool socks. Like I don't have to wash my merino wool socks during the week, like an extra wash. Like I just got like the whole week covered.
Mhm.
So I got about 12 to 14 pairs of merino wool socks. Just people just
So
giving them me merino wool socks, and I was in hog heaven. So, you know, speaking of your kid who probably wouldn't be excited about new socks for Christmas,
Mhm.
I was over the moon for new socks. I was
Mhm.
digging the
Mhm.
merino wool socks. I'm wearing them right now. I got an Argyle pair of smart wool socks on right now, and I'm feeling good.
Nice.
My feet are dry, warm, cozy.
Do you also get, like, everybody's gift to me, like, their high IQ, Jay works at home gift to me is always pajama pants, which
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to. I have a good dozen pair at this point, but they, they fray and wear at the bottom and stuff, so you gotta replace them.
yeah,
I get those a lot. And I was gonna mention, I had totally forgotten, you had brought up the TV.
yeah.
So New Year's Eve, anybody that follows me on Twitter saw this. New Year's Eve, we were about to go to the in-laws for the evening to just kind of hang out and do like a low-key dinner and then come back early kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe an hour before that happened, we were trying to get ready and clean up a little bit and stuff before we left. And we hear our son getting upset at our daughter because they're like watching a movie. And all of a sudden we hear like he's got like ASD stuff going on. And so he gets frustrated very easily. And we hear him yelling, "No, stop, don't." And apparently our daughter had hit like the fast forward button or the rewind button, and that just like set him off.
Yeah.
And I was in the other room, and my wife is usually pretty, pretty emotionally like
You married a
straight, right?
psychopath.
No, 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 no. She's usually
Oh, oh,
emotionally great. She's
okay.
a social worker, so she has to be.
Okay.
And she goes out, and I just hear, "Theo, no, Theo, no, Theo, what the heck?" Like from the other room, I hear this, and I'm like, "Oh no, what is going on?" And I walk out, and my son is just like frozen, and my wife's over by the TV, and she's like, "You broke it." My son had taken the remote from my daughter's hand thought about it and then chucked it at the TV
Oh man.
and like spider web,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
This is the second time in his life that he's broken our TV.
Oh
First time
man.
he was like a year and a half and he threw keys at it, but
So you replaced the TV?
not yet. We're
Yeah. I
it's
wouldn't
supposed
do
to
it
come
right
this
away either.
yeah.
I would
It's supposed
that
to come this Friday.
the consequences of that I think would have to
Natural
stick around a little
consequence.
bit. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like now we don't have a TV and like
Yeah, exactly. Natural consequence. So
yeah.
it took a few days for him to like get over that trauma. He's like, "What is wrong?" You know, he goes into the "what's wrong with me" kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but and it wasn't an expensive TV for this reason. You know, we
Sure.
buy TCL. So I found on Costco a 58-inch 4K TCL for $279. I'm like, sold,
Wow. What?
done. Yeah.
Damn, TVs are so cheap now. It's
I
amazing.
know. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend so much money on a TV knowing
Yeah.
that we have young children, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not it was the whole lesson in my life as a parent and in his life. I think this is gonna be a core memory. And I had to remind because I was upset, I was pissed off.
Yeah.
But I
Sure.
had to remind myself, like, this is gonna be a core memory for him.
Yeah.
Like, how
And
do I
also
wanna go
it's
about it?
just a TV.
Right, exactly. So that
Yeah.
was my whole thing. I was like, it's just a thing. It's replaceable. Like it's,
Yeah.
you're not, right? Because he really beats himself up on stuff like that. But so that was a lesson for me as a parent too, I think.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
as frustrating as it was, it's like, okay, it's a replaceable thing. It's not going to be the end of the world, right? So that was
Yeah.
our New Year's Eve, and then we went straight to our in-laws, and that was like a whole like emotional thing to try to get over. But it was, I think it's gonna be a story for us when he gets older and stuff, for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing how good a TV you can get for so little money now. It's
Mhm,
like it's
mhm.
outstanding.
Yeah, I'm a fan of TCL as far as, like, budget TVs too. We've
Sure.
we've gotten good use out of those.
Yeah. I actually have a 55-inch Samsung that's now I bet I bought it in 2016, but in 2016 I paid like 450 for it,
Mhm,
which I
mhm.
thought was like, "Oh my god, that's incredibly cheap for a
Yeah, yeah,
4K
yeah.
HDR TV." I mean, the HDR is iffy, let's be
It's like,
honest.
yeah, it's the same with, like, the high hertz stuff. It's kind of like, um, what do they call that? Emulated?
Yes,
It's
right.
not true, like, 120 or 240 hertz. It's like
Right.
emulated. So it's weird, like
Yeah.
smooth motion and stuff, but
But, just
it's
for like
whatever.
it's like a TV that I put YouTube on while I'm working on in the office,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like that's what that TV is for.
It's not like a theater experience. Yeah,
No. No.
but it works.
But now it's got a new sound bar under it that the volume doesn't work very well because that got moved into the office.
Mm,
The land of lost toys in here. Jay, we got a ton of news,
we do. I
right?
have I have a couple of discussion topics quickly
Oh, okay.
before we it'll be shorter than the stories, I promise.
Yeah.
Apologies on the stories. The first one is relevant. I got the Duo. I can show that.
Yes. Yes, that thing finally came, right?
Still sitting in the box. I haven't
Oh,
I
you haven't
haven't
used
set
it
it up
yet?
yet. No,
Okay.
but like, look how big this box is, and then it just says Duo
Yeah, well, it's a
right in the
big
center there.
unit compared to like some of the other analog stuff. Have you opened the box yet? Have you taken it
I
out yet?
have, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I plan to use this, so I
Yeah,
can
I would at
actually
least
open
plug it in,
it.
try it out so that you can like if something's not working,
So
you can
right.
warranty it. Yeah, it's
So
much
here's
bigger
the
because it's got that CD player in it, right?
right. So I
I
got the
like the
black
look of
one.
it though a lot.
Yeah. It's really basic, especially compared to some of their other stuff that they've made.
I don't know,
But
it
it's
evokes though like the original hardware to me,
right. It's just
especially
like
the Turbo
whatever
Duo.
3/4 size.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right, for some reason I'm not okay. So it's got the little I don't know, it's having a hard time focus here. But
There it
it's got
goes.
that power button over here, and then the hue card and the CD slot.
Yeah. I haven't gotten one of these yet, Jay. I'm a little undecided on whether I'm going to get one because, I have a original hardware TurboGrafx 16 that
Right.
Wilson was kind enough to like completely recap. I also
Mhm.
got what's called an EDFX, which gives me like just gorgeous RGB out that then goes into my retro tank. And for the price of that thing, what I think I can get is like a turbo, the Crix, basically a car. What do they call it?
Oh,
A ROM cart, basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, man, I got all that stuff. It's so much more fun to play on original hardware. But I mean, am I really playing on original hardware at that point? Like we're
Mhm.
getting there's like the core. Um and I don't really have much interest in starting to collect turbo or PC engine stuff at this point because it's gotten so expensive, right?
Yeah,
And a
I
lot
only
of
have a
the
handful.
yeah, a lot of the good game. It's not it's not like one of those where it's like the really obscure stuff is expensive. A lot of the good games are really expensive on that, you know. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pick that up or not. It
I
is interesting. Maybe I'll hold on to it in case my turbo graphics ever like truly dies. I have like a backup because I do have a few games.
I was in that boat and I still am, it's like whatever, but I think the reason that I ended up pulling the trigger, I had actually pre-ordered 2. I pre-ordered 1 of each.
Hmm.
And so the reason I ended up letting one of them go, I canceled the white one.
Hmm.
Because I was like, it's the NA version's the black one, so I ended up going with that. With analog stuff, they retain value so well
Yes,
that if, a year or 2 down the road, I'm like, I'm really not using it and I end up wanting to sell it, I'm sure I could get at least close to my money back.
probably.
Um,
A lot of times they
s
go for it once they discontinue them, or even if when they go out of stock, they'll go up in price huge on eBay.
yeah, I
The
mean, I
analog
wasn't
stuff.
buying it to profit. I mean, I opened it and all that stuff. I wanna use it, but if it ends up being something that I'm not using very much, I'm not gonna have any problem
Yeah,
retaining most of what I spent. So, that's why I ended up just letting that one go through because the regret it's the same thing with, like, the Pocket. Like, I really haven't been using the Pocket. If I wanted to sell it, I'm sure I could get close to my money back.
probably.
Um, so it wasn't really a huge debate for me,
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
can
that's
I
the
can
other thing
understand
is
if
I'm
you already
also
had
getting
stuff.
that adapter, the turbo
Mhm.
card adapter for the Pocket, so I'll be able
That'll
to
maybe
play.
eventually come out this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that
Yeah.
is the story with this stuff so often. I finally actually I was really excited because right before Christmas, actually it might have been right before New Year's, my Appia Radiant Silver gun for the Switch came in, which I had ordered in 2022. But I was
Mhm.
excited. I was like, "Ooh."
Mhm. Nice. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you.
S
Yeah, I'm torn on that thing. The reviews haven't been outstanding for it, but like I do think they'll improve it a little bit over time with software updates.
People
So,
are still holding out for open FPGA of some sort too.
oh
Like,
yeah, I don't
if
know.
they hack it or something. There's
Yeah,
not been any news on that, but I mean, like, again, the Pocket took a long time for any of
it
that
did
stuff
take a
to come
long
out too,
time.
so
It
you never
did.
know. You never know. At the
Didn't they
very
say
least, you
they
could
weren't
use
going to
a
do it though on that?
they did,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
think didn't they originally say that they weren't gonna or I can't remember. You said that they
No,
said they would,
no, I
but,
think they would. Yeah, they said they
they
would.
might be able to find a way to get some kind of emulated
Yeah.
ROM on the thing at the very least, so an
Y-
EverDrive situation
Yeah,
because there's
I'm
probably a
actually the
EverDrive cue
N64
card.
one that they're coming out with is actually more interesting to me because like if they do open FPGA on that, then you're dealing with a much more powerful FPGA chip, which
True.
may be really like capable of doing some really cool stuff. But like at that point, you've just got a mister, right?
Yeah.
So
The N64 has me excited though. We've been talking about this for
yeah,
years at this point,
and it's
like
4K.
yeah.
4K output on that thing. If the Duo was 4K output, I probably that would push me over the ledge. I would buy it.
Yeah.
I might still buy it, but like that would be a must buy for me.
Alright, so that's the Analog Duo. The other thing that I have is a discussion about I just titled it, "Who's the Asshole?"
Mm,
Um, and
nice.
so I've been deep into the Mercari, uh, you know, Mercari eBay stuff again for the past 2 months, and probably about 40 to 50% of all orders that I make on Mercari get canceled.
Really?
Yeah. And first of all, Mercari has this setup where sellers can make a sale and they can cancel it without any repercussions. You can't get feedback. You can't really do anything. You can't report them or anything like that. Eventually, if they cancel a bunch, they get like this little mark under the name that says like, 33% cancellation rate, which is like whatever people are still going to buy. But here's my question of who's the asshole. Here, let me outline a situation for you. Somebody sells almost every very good deal I get on Mercari gets canceled. Like 90% of any really good deal that I get gets canceled, meaning something's worth more than double what I paid. So let's say I spent $100 on like an N64 lot that's worth like 250 to 300, and then it gets canceled an hour later. The reason typically that these get canceled is that another buyer will reach out to the seller and do one of two things. They'll either say, "Hey, what you have is worth X amount. You shouldn't sell to this guy, whatever." Or B, "Your thing is worth this much and I'll pay this much." Or,
Mm,
slightly more. Maybe they'll offer 200 or 175 on the thing. And then so the seller cancels and relists it, right? Who's the
yeah.
asshole? Is it the seller, or is it the person who's messaging the seller after the sale has been made and they're just sad that they missed out?
Well, that's a tough one, Jay. I'm not sure that anybody's the asshole here.
I disagree, but go on.
Okay, so you're looking to get a good deal. You know that you're getting a good deal, and you know that you're gonna make some money on it. I can't say that you're an asshole
Or
here.
not necessarily, I'm not necessarily buying stuff just to resell, like, I'd keep a
Yeah,
good chunk of it, you
right.
know?
Like, I mean, that's just that's just life in capitalism, though. It's like you know that you're getting a good deal on this thing, and you're not gonna tell them that, right? You're gonna take that good deal. They eh, like the seller, if in that scenario where they just sold $100 worth of shit and they think, or that they're then told that, oh, that was worth $250. Well, now that with that knowledge, I still have the thing. You know what? Macari as a website allows me to break this contract. I can't really say they're an asshole because, hey, money is money. Times are tight. like,
So here's the
like,
question: if you were going to, like, a garage sale
yeah,
and you had something in your hand and you gave the seller $100 and you start walking away and somebody comes in and like tells the seller like, "Hey, that stuff is actually worth so much," and the seller comes up and like grabs the thing out of your hand and hands you the $100.
that's not gonna happen, Jay.
I'm just saying, like, to me, in my brain,
That
the
transaction
principle
has been completed, so it's a little
in
bit
my
different.
brain, it should be the same. Money has exchanged hands.
I understand your
A deal
comparison
has been
there.
made.
Yeah, I understand your
It's
comparison
a
there.
handshake deal.
But you're dealing with a third party in Macari, so it's not the same, right? I mean, it like theoretically it feels the same, but it's not the same. Like once I've given at a tax sale, once I've given you money and I have the item and I'm walking away, that's my item. Like you are now stealing from me if you try and take that from me because it's in my hand.
In my brain, it's a similar thing
I can see
because
why you're saying that. Yeah, I
and
definitely can
and
see the comparison.
yeah, to me, I think the other person messaging the seller is the asshole here. Like, it's such a sneaky thing to do
Yeah,
because a lot of the time they don't even like, they're just pissed off they missed out. So and a lot of the times they're not offering what it's worth, you know what I mean? They're offering slightly more than what
yeah,
I paid so that they can still get a good deal and take it away from somebody else.
yeah.
Like,
I
I've
hear
seen
you.
stories and heard from sellers, like, sometimes the seller would be like, "Hey, you got it first. It was my mistake for pricing it this way because I didn't do my research. You're still gonna get it." Like, 10% of the time that happens. But most of the time it gets canceled. Um,
I think that's it though, is right. It's like they feel like if they find out afterward and they feel, oh man, I made a mistake and I priced that too low. I kind of got hosed. Everybody in that situation, even the guy who's like, hey, that thing you just sold for $100 is worth $200. I'll give you 180 or 150 right now. Like as a seller, I'd be like, oh, well, thanks for letting me know. And I'd be more willing to sell it to this person who gave me the more information.
that's interesting.
Because I mean, you can see it from every side. Everybody, like nobody in that situation is an asshole to me. I mean, I can see everybody's motivations, and everybody's motivations can be selfish, but still, like justifiable.
The seller before the seller, usually I message and I do my whole like, "Hey, thanks for this. I'm excited to put it in my collection.
Yeah,
Curious if you had anything else." Like, I always do that, right?
yeah,
It's led to some of my best deals. And usually the seller's like really happy. They're like, "Hey, I was just trying to get rid of this. I appreciate the quick sale, yada yada." And I'm very straightforward and honest and quick with rating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And usually they're very happy. And then it's not like they're unhappy because they didn't know. They're just happy to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so frustrating to spend, and
I can imagine.
it takes money out of my account, and it takes a few days to get put back too. So it's like this whole
Mm,
like waste of time and funds thing too in my brain.
yeah.
I just really Macari's the asshole. Like they need to have a setup where there's some.
Yeah, well, that system is kinda whack, right? Like, that's really what's causing you the issue.
They're probably never going to do it though, because if they sell stuff for more money, they make a higher percentage. So
Yeah, right. Their best interest. Everybody is serving their own best interest.
yeah, at least on eBay, you can leave neutral or negative feedback and like put a mark on their permanent record kind of thing if they do that stuff. So people are
Yeah.
less likely to do that kind of thing on eBay. So I don't
I've
know.
been selling stuff on eBay lately, like, not a lot, but, like, I sold, like, a arcade stick, and,
Mhm.
thing I run into is I get, like, an offer, the sale goes through, and then the guy just never pays, so it's just, like, kinda in limbo forever. So I gotta,
You
like,
can in your settings as a seller, you can require payment immediately.
"Oh, can I? Okay, I'll
Somebody's
look
going to do
into
that.
that."
Yeah.
Okay. That might be my
So when you're
problem.
listing, there's usually an option there. And then if you're doing best offer, I think there's an option for if making a best offer that they have to like put their credit card information in
Okay,
beforehand too.
I'll look
So as
into
soon as you
that, thank you.
accept it, it'll go through. I think if I remember correctly. I somehow over what I've been an eBay member since 99, 25 years, 100% positive feedback, probably over 10,000 transactions. I don't know how. I'm gonna knock on wood here because a lot of it's just pure luck dealing with not horrible people, but anyways,
So,
yeah,
we got news.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I have to so a lot of this stuff, probably half of it I put on the news for last week because we thought we were gonna do it, and then ended up not being able to. So I gotta get myself back into it. Is it Peugeot, the vehicles?
I always said Peugeot, but I don't know. It's one of those foreign words that I think has, like, 6 different pronunciations.
Yeah. Apparently, in the early 2000s, Game Boys, specifically the SPs, were used for diagnostics. So they had this whole like little like briefcase looking plastic case that you'd open. It had like the different tools, and
Yeah.
then the it shows a picture of the regular Game Boy Advance, but the SP's in there. So I don't know if there was like different versions, and there's even one that has like Game Boy, like a picture of a Game Boy Color or something on there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's really interesting that they use these are like proprietary tools that they would use for
So this is the
testing
equivalent of,
diagnostics and
like,
stuff for
plugging a
cars.
computer into, like, the OBD port and, like, finding out what errors the car has. This does not instill confidence in Peugeot.
No?
No.
I mean,
Because all car companies have these, right? And, in a way, I know mechanics a lot of times will complain about how expensive they can be, and there are, like, generic ones that work on multiple different cars, but the fact that Peugeot just, like, made it made it work on
so
the Game Boy.
the argument here was that, in the early 2000s, like 2000 through 2004 probably, mobile
Yeah.
phones were not cheap, nor
No.
were PDAs. So
No.
something like this is like $150 thing was a much cheaper way to get these out into people's
Yeah.
hands, which makes sense.
Look, the French do it different. We all know that. Gotta love the French. I don't think
I,
Peugeots weren't in the US at that point, right? Like, they stopped selling Peugeots in, like, the 90s in, the US?
that I do not know.
Okay. I wanna say it was, like, the 90s, early 90s or something, they stopped selling them here.
The most that I know about those cars is that every racing game that I had,
Yeah.
would have that brand in there, so that's
Like the
about as much as
Peugeot
I know about it.
206, like a little fastback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a little hot
Anyways,
hatch. Yeah.
that was kinda fun.
Yeah, Peugeots are weird. The French make weird cars, real weird. You gotta love the French. I got a lot of love for the French, especially, like, they'll just go on strike for any reason whatsoever and burn that country down. What's
Some
next?
ways I wish our countries was like that a little bit. Anyways,
Mhm. Yeah.
uh, Sega's and more in their announcement video may have been defined, at least to a certain extent.
Yeah, this was hugely exciting.
Yes. Sega filed for some trademarks on December 6th for Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, Jet Set Radio, which we knew about, and Kid
Yeah.
Chameleon.
Yeah.
Altered Beast is fantastic. Eternal Champions is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I could care less about Kid Chameleon. That was a franchise that just never appealed to me. Like, I know people do like it though, so I'm happy for them. But Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, Just That Radio we knew about that was in that
Mhm.
trailer that they showed off at the Game Awards. You know, Altered Beast doesn't get a lot of love, I feel like, but it's a fun game, and it was a pack-in for the Genesis. And
Yeah.
you could go in almost any direction with like a modern sequel to that, right? It's like
Right.
you could go anywhere with that because it's like a wide open canvas. Eternal Champions was not a well-reviewed fighting game back in the day. But it was kind of neat because it had some like real wacky characters. Like there's just like something about it. I owned this game when I was a kid and I liked this game. It didn't play as well as something like a Street Fighter or like a Mortal Kombat 3, but there was just something to it. There's character to it. And there was a lot of like kind of like weird fatality kind of stuff and special moves. It was the arcade difficulty was like the arcade mode. This game never came to the arcade. But the ladder mode or the arcade mode was just intensely difficult. So you really had to work at it to beat it.
Mhm.
I'd be interested to see what they did. I'm always up for a new fighting game too. Like I just like
I've never
fighting games.
actually played the original Eternal Champions either. I'm very, I'm familiar with it around
Yeah.
like the game itself, but I haven't I haven't played it. I don't think I own it either, so.
Yeah, I would like to check this out. I don't think it's an expensive game either. There's
No, no.
a lot of them around. The Sega CD version might be more expensive. I don't know. But I think that version is maybe better. Like people like it better. But I got to imagine that it's gonna suffer from pretty slow loading times.
Yeah, marginally more expensive, like a complete Genesis one is like 15 to $20 and Sega CD is like 40 to 50.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I might pick up a copy just to play around with. This is one of those ones that I always see. They have like 4 copies complete at the game store.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
always a
yeah.
ton of them.
Same with like Altered Beast as well,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, more Sega stuff. Like there's a lot of Sega stuff in the news actually. Sonic Mania Plus and many more games coming to Netflix games in 2024, which Sonic Mania is a solid title.
Yeah.
So this is
If
kind
you
of
like
fun.
classic Sonic, it's a very good title.
And Sonic Mania Plus has like a whole bunch of games in their list. Not a whole lot of recognizable titles that I
They got
see, except for
Hades
like
on here, Katana
they have
Zero.
Braid. Braid is like an indie game that was on
Yeah.
Xbox and stuff like
Monument
that.
Valley.
Hades.
Yeah. This is just weird to me because it's like, how do you even interact with Netflix games? Like, I think you just download them and like install them, like right to like your, I don't know, your iPad or your iPhone, right?
Yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is not going to get me to get a Netflix subscription. You know what I mean?
We
Like, it's
have
not
one and
my-
we've had one forever, but it's getting expensive now.
Yeah, it's real expensive, especially if you want the 4K version. Actually,
We
do
used
they
to-
even break that out anymore? Is there like a non 4K version?
Yeah, there is.
There
There's
is?
like an HD 1080p and then a 4K UHD one.
Okay.
We have the 4K UHD. I mean, we've had a subscription since they did discs. Like I
Yeah.
moved from I had the Blockbuster disc subscription and then I switched to Netflix at some point in the early 2000s, mid 2000, whatever, 2005, 2006 era.
Do you remember
Um,
when they wanted to rebrand Netflix? So they wanted to keep the Netflix name for the online service, the version of Netflix that we're familiar with now.
Oh yes,
and they
I
wanted
do.
to rebrand the version where they send
DVD.
you the DVD stuff in the mail
Yeah,
to
they
something
did.
else. Yeah, they did, right? And then they changed
And
it
then-
back. Yeah. It was weird though. I was like, why would you do
Can't
that?
you might still be able to rent DVDs from Netflix. I can't remember.
I have no idea. Does GameFly still exist?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it
why wouldn't
seems so
GameFly
archaic
makes
now,
more
but at the
sense.
time when that service first launched and you didn't have to go to the video store anymore, and you could there was no late charges, like, you just keep these discs for as long as you
Yeah.
wanted. It was
Mhm.
amazing. It was an amazing
Mhm.
service. Now it feels so archaic, right? I could just, like, go on my phone and watch any movie ever made
Yeah. Sonoma
while
in
I'm
chat just
driving to work.
said that they just ended the disc service. I remembered
They
it
just
being a
did.
thing for a long time, but
Yeah. Yeah. Man, wow. I like, how far we've come in such a short amount of time. I was thinking the other day how in the 90s we went from playing the NES to playing the Sega Dreamcast in one decade. Like, has there ever been a leap like that as far as like
yeah.
video games go? I don't think so. That was just enormous. And then, in the 2000s, we went from like basically like Nokia bricks to having like like the whole world in our pocket with the iPhone and like, like Android devices. That was a
Yeah.
big change.
It's only a matter of time, honestly, and I've been watching some videos on YouTube and whatnot, like at big box stores, Best Buy and stuff like that, where their video game section is next to non-existent. Like, the
Yeah.
writing was on the wall. I've been saying this probably for a good year or 2 on the show, that the way of the future for new games is digital. Like, it doesn't make any sense production-wise or profit-wise to keep things on physical media.
Yeah.
Um, so it's more profitable for digital. I really, 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 and I may be the one to like look into this because I've had this idea for years to have some kind of online trading marketplace for digital games. Because imagine having a key or a license to something and being able to trade it or sell it and get some of your money back. Because that's really my only trepidation to spend a bunch of money on games digitally is like there's no return on anything there. If you, like, spend $60 on a game and you beat it in 10 hours, like, that's your whatever, it's 60 bucks.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not worth it, like, money to time-wise, but from a way where we've had this secondhand market for video games to not have it anymore in the future hurts. I think we'll
Yeah.
always have the niche, limited run, 8-bit, whatever, physical stuff,
Yeah.
and these
Because I think the game makers like seeing their stuff like in
yeah.
boxes as well. So,
But it doesn't financially make sense for them to do it really.
for
It's
instance, I just looked up my Game Eye. Game Eye is an app that you could
Mhm.
track your kind of collection for listeners.
Fantastic. It's free and you should download it.
Yeah, it is pretty neat. And I looked at just for PlayStation 5, right? Brand new console, not brand new, but new enough. I have a total of 39 games for the PlayStation 5, which I don't think is an extraordinarily huge collection of games, right? For a modern console.
I think I own 2.
That's fair. And that collection, if I were to sell it, the Game Eye value, the value of those games on Game Eye, which I think is like a kind of like
Price charting.
what, yeah, what you could get it like for according to price charting is $1,000. It's $1,013. So if I had bought all those games digitally, the value of that game collection would be zero,
Yeah.
right? But I could put all these games on eBay or go trade them in at GameStop or whatever and get some monetary value with. And that is how I financed playing video games for a good part of my life. Is I'd buy
100%.
games, then when I was finished with them, I'd bring them to the store, trade them in to get more new games, right? Or some used games, some new to me games.
Right.
And digital, I just don't like that about digital. It's like, when you're done, imagine you buy like a mediocre game and you're done with it. And you're like, well, this is mine forever, like it or not, you know?
Yeah. I
So,
I generally only buy games digitally that I know I'm gonna port, like Destiny. That's like the only game that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it digitally because I'm gonna put a ton of time into it and I don't want to have to be taking it in and out of the system. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
PC
I hear you.
games, like I can't remember. You can't resell the reason that PC games have gotten to a point where it's more acceptable is that the way and the quickness in which games are reduced in price is so fast.
It is fast.
Like, if you don't wanna buy something the week it comes out, you wait a month, it's like 20 bucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless it's like a really popular title.
Or there's some kinda sale or something like that, and you can get indie games regularly for 5, 10, 15 bucks, things like that, which make it more accessible, on, like, Steam or something like that to
Yeah.
have more of a digital library, but
But when
I
I
don't
first started
see
playing
consoles
PC
doing that.
games, man, I was getting these like incredible collector's edition. Like this regular edition of these games would come with like paper maps, sometimes cloth maps, fucking novels. I got a novel when I bought TIE Fighter. Like it was like a explanation of my character in novel form. It was like all sorts of cool shit used to be in those. The boxes were dope as hell. Like, I don't know. Like I think PC gamers are kind of getting fucked.
Right.
It's like my Steam library has, I don't know how many games in it, but it's worthless. Like I guess you could sell your entire Steam library if you wanted to, but like I don't even know how to go about that. I guess
Yeah,
you
I think
Google it.
that's against TOS, but
Right.
probably. I think they
Like
like that kind of thing.
I don't know. Like
But
I'd much rather be able to buy physical copies. And you
yeah.
know who's doing a physical copy of a PC game is oh who just made that big RPG that came out this summer? Baldur's Gate 3. They're doing a physical copy of that, which is kind of neat.
But is it like a physical disc or like what?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Most of the time when it's a physical, it's like, "Here's a box with a piece of paper with a code on it." You know what
Some
I
people
mean?
have
Like,
done USB sticks.
sure,
There's like a USB stick in there, which
that
to
would make
me,
more sense.
I don't know. A lot of people don't have disk drives in their PCs anymore.
It doesn't even make sense because most of the time when you install it, there's gonna have to be an update that downloads anyways, like, it's not it makes sense to me why there's no discs anymore, and, consoles are, gonna come very soon, I'm sure, with no disk drive. You remember, didn't they announce Xbox without a disk drive or something like that, and they just absolutely went bonkers?
Oh yeah, the Xbox One originally, yeah, was like
They
digital only.
I think it's possible next, whatever next
Well, they're fucking
iteration of
themselves if they
console.
do that because I will have zero reasons to buy Xbox or PlayStation games if they do that.
It just essentially becomes a
Zero.
PC at that point,
Yeah,
you know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like,
why would I lock my games to like some third party platform if I could just have them on PC? Like if it's all digital anyway, if I'm gonna buy a digital game, I'm gonna buy it on PC now, right? Because it's gonna run the best there. It's
yeah.
gonna like I'm gonna have the most options in the future for like upgrading it, putting mods on it, doing whatever I want to do with that game. Why would I buy a PlayStation game unless they came out with Last of Us 3 is PlayStation only? Okay, I really like Last of Us, I'll buy it there. But if if Baldur's Gate 4 comes out and it's PlayStation 6, Xbox 5 or PC, it's a no-brainer to me to buy on PC. Alan Wake just came out. Alan Wake 2 just came out. I'm definitely buying that on PC. It's digital only. Like they're not selling a physical copy. So I'm only going to buy it on PC. Why would I buy a digital game on like a console?
For
No
you
reason
for
to do
you
that.
for you, it doesn't make sense, absolutely. The argument for console has, at least for the last decade at least, been the subsidized cost of a system is significantly less than a higher end PC of similar
A higher end
quality.
PC, but you can get
Not when the systems are released. When the systems are
not when they're
released,
new, but
typically, yeah,
usually by like the midpoint they're at least even,
sure,
and then by
sure.
the later half of the console's life it's like archaic compared to what you can get
Right,
for
but they
an
also drop
equivalent
price.
price.
They also
And
drop price
you
of
can you
consoles
can upgrade
eventually
a
too.
PC over time. You don't have to buy it all
Sure,
at
I
once, right?
understand.
You can incrementally buy it. I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying the user base or the demographic for a console is typically like parents buying their kids who, the
Yeah,
parents are not into
that's
video
true.
games and stuff like that. It's like you can justify a $250 Switch versus a $1,000 PC. In their mind, and
Yeah,
they're like, I don't have to
Nintendo's
deal
got a
with it.
whole different
Stuff just
demographic too.
works, all this stuff. Yeah, but even like with Xbox and PlayStation, I think there's always going to be a user base, even if it is digital only. There will be a reason for
I won't
parents
be
to
part of
buy
that
a
user
console.
base.
No, if everything is cross-play and all this stuff, it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense, but at that point, it just becomes, first party
yeah.
console, games, and Xbox has been pretty generous in their, like, if you have an Xbox, or a PC, you can play these games,
Oh,
right? Like
Game Pass. Yeah.
PlayStation.
I mean,
Yeah,
PlayStation's putting a lot of those games out on PC as well. I mean, they're basically making PCs. The only difference is the
yeah,
software that's on them, right?
sure.
So it's like, I don't know. Why do we need consoles at this point, right? It's like,
It's easier to do when a PC malfunctions. It's a lot more difficult to diagnose an issue for people that are not technically savvy versus like an Xbox or
I
PlayStation.
100% disagree with you, Jay, because with a PC, I could fix it myself. With a PlayStation 5, I got to ship it to Sony. Like, you can't
They
fix
have a
that yourself.
warranty at least for a certain amount of time.
So does a PC.
Mm,
Yeah, if you buy a PC at Best Buy, you're going to get a warranty. If
I
you
don't
buy
think I
parts even, they're going to come with a warranty. So if you put it
Yeah,
together
if you can
yourself,
if you can
those parts.
diagnose what the issue is, sure.
Well, if you can't do that, then don't build your own PC. Just go
Well,
to
that's
Best
what
Buy
I'm
and buy
saying.
one.
That's what I'm saying. There's a demographic for people who don't wanna deal with any of that stuff or don't know
But
anything.
it's got the same warranty. The warranty, I'm not buying the warranty argument because you get a warranty with a PC
Okay.
as well.
Sure. Sure.
And you get the Geek Squad to fix it for you. You don't have to ship it.
Anyways,
I don't know. All right.
I can see both sides. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, I
moving
can
on.
too. I just hate one side.
The Video Game History Foundation is going to launch a digital library in the near future.
Do you watch this whole
Hopefully in
video?
2024. I did. It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny.
It's a little
It's a
cheesy, but
long video though. Like I would have loved to see like a synopsis video. You know,
yeah.
like give me the deets. But yeah, they're gonna have like an online library of like video
Repository.
game magazines and literature. And it's gonna be sortable and like like a online
Like a library.
library. It's pretty neat. A lot
I
of this
noticed
stuff
that
is on the Internet Archive now. So like if you want to
yeah.
look at old episodes or old issues like EGM and stuff, it's all up there. It could be a little hard to sort through, but once you kind of get used to using the correct search terms, like what people are putting up there, it's pretty usable. But this is just, I think, going to be a lot easier to use. I do wonder what Nintendo Power is gonna happen. Like, is there gonna be Nintendo Power on here? Nintendo doesn't like this kind of thing, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I think they take Nintendo Power off of the Internet Archive.
I thought they specifically, maybe they didn't. My brain for some reason remembers it specifically talking about Nintendo Power, but I could be incorrect.
I'm just Googling. I might be wrong. Maybe people were talking about it, but it never happened.
The only reason I would think that they would not want Nintendo Power up there is if they decided to bring it back, which I don't see them doing that.
Apparently, it is on. It is currently on the Internet Archive. So maybe people talked about it, but Nintendo kind of let it slide. I don't know.
Mm.
You gotta be careful with Nintendo, though. They
Oh
are
yeah,
serious about copyright law.
litigious.
We'll be talking about that again later in this show. Okay, Jay, make me hard.
Treasure
Yeah,
wants to make something new for the first time in a while.
yeah, they do. Come on, this is
Oh,
very
man.
exciting.
So the who was it from Treasure? Do you want to talk about like who Treasure is and why this is so exciting?
Yeah, Treasure, the developers of such hits as Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis, Radiant Silvergun, which I just got a copy of for the Switch, but originally came out for the Saturn, Guardian Heroes also for the Saturn, and one game that I'd love to pick for this show, Ikaruga for the Dreamcast, Alien Soldier, again for the Genesis, Sin and Punishment for the Nintendo 64, or was that a Wii game? I can't remember. I never played that one. Gradius 5. What they did was they made extremely special games. They weren't necessarily like an original concept, but they just added that little bit of magic to their games. They're originally Konami developers who just got sick of making, sequels over and over again. I think they quote Contra in, when they originally left Konami. They went on and formed this Japanese studio called Treasure. And they came out with just amazing game and amazing game that unfortunately, they didn't always sell great, which is kind of sad because they're almost all really great.
Yeah. So in the quote, it was translated
Yeah.
from the official Treasure like Twitter. Said next year I want to make something for the first time in a while,
Yeah.
which next year means 2024.
Ooh, okay. So this quote has me a little bit concerned because I've heard through like people who would know, like by listening to podcasts, not like from one-on-one conversation, that Treasure isn't like a real company anymore. It's just like a guy who used to work there, still owns the IP, and that's why we often see Treasure games get licensed because there's still somebody working there and still owns that stuff. But I don't know how big this company is or how many people actually are developing games there anymore because they haven't come out with a game in a very, very long time, like a new game.
Yeah.
It's just been reissues and, like special editions and stuff. So, I mean, hopefully they still can pull that magic off, but I don't know who works there anymore.
And I wonder if they start working on it in 2024, will it actually be released this year? I can't imagine.
No, I can't imagine.
So, we had mentioned this before. The Analog Pocket 2.0 software has been released.
Yeah, that's right.
So this has the open FPGA stuff available now for like when you're in display modes and whatnot, when you're docking.
Yeah. So
That's the main thing.
yeah, the main thing that this has is basically like a CRT filter that it does look pretty cool. I've seen it. I haven't used it myself, but it does look pretty cool. But it's not like a game changer or anything like that. The hope is that now the people who make cores for like the Neo Geo, the NES, the Genesis, the Super Nintendo cores that can run ROMs now have access to being able to use these like kind of custom filters to display on your TV to make them look like CRTs or to make Game Boy games have like different colors and grids and all that stuff to make them look cooler. But that's up to each core. So each core has to now implement that stuff, and that can take time.
And we might as well cover the fact that the Neo Geo Pocket FPGA Core Beta is now available.
Yeah, that's
for the
neat.
Mister as well. That was something from this last week. It's just the beta currently. That's pretty cool. We haven't gotten that adapter yet, the Pocket, so this is kind of what we have to use for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of neat. I don't have a lot of depth or of knowledge in the Pocket library, so I'm gonna probably check these
You
games out.
probably would like quite a bit of it. There's a bunch of like Metal Slug and like fighters and things like that
I like
in the
Metal Slug. I know
library.
there's a
So
Capcom versus SNK as well, so I know I'd like that. It'd be fun.
it's a
I have
fun
found that with
golf
my
game.
Pocket handheld, is that I'm not as likely to play console games on it because everything's just too damn small on that screen.
Sure.
So I do end up like playing, Game Boy or, handheld games more often when I'm holding the device in my hands. But on the dock, it's pretty incredible. You can just play anything on a TV.
I should give you a list of stuff that you got to play, like Golden Sun 1 and 2. The Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga was another one of the ones that I thought you should play if you liked Mario RPG, anyways.
Yeah. Hey, did you pick up the remake of that Super Mario RPG? Have you
I
played that?
did. I haven't played it yet though.
I bought it for
do
one of my
have it.
kids for Christmas, and I meant to ask him, hey, did you check that out? Is it any good?
Old school style. Yeah, we got a few Switch games for Christmas too. The Sonic ones were on sale and stuff, so I
Oh,
picked a
nice.
few up. More FPGA stuff. So there's an SP style smartwatch on Kickstarter that is going to use FPGA. And it's a smartwatch, so it's literally on your wrist and it like folds up and it has little buttons and it's going to use FPGA.
That's pretty
Currently,
fly.
so here's the positives about it, right? There's some
Yeah.
positives and negatives. I looked at
Okay.
this quite in depth. So it's currently the goal was only 35 grand, and I think it has like stretch goals and stuff like that. If they hit certain points, they would do different things.
Yeah.
With different casings and kind of quality of that stuff, whether it's like 3D printed or they do like metal casings and all that stuff. It's currently at 78 grand. So it's
Oh,
more
great.
than double what the
Good.
pledge is. With 13 days to go, there's 400 backers. I can't remember what the exact I would want it to be, I'm trying to
Wait,
find all the
400
stretch goals.
backers raised 80 grand?
Something close to that, yeah.
Wow.
So I believe I think it's like 100 and what did I say? 100 and $79 for the watch, or $350 for the beta test concept, which is like a physical in-hand thing on top of the actual watch.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
3D printed,
right.
hand
So
soldered
that's
boards. Yeah.
quite a few of those. The thing that has me worried here is it seems like this is in the concept phase. And
Oh,
it's
you don't think
like
it'll ever come out?
that's what I'm worried about.
That's fair. That's always a problem. That's always a risk when you're talking about Kickstart and stuff.
Because they have like a video showing what they have. It's like a proof of concept video, but it's like really rudimentary proof of concept. It's like, okay, here we have the board and it's plugged into this stuff, and look, it's running this game.
Yeah. But let's be honest, Jay. This thing is just a cool gimmick.
It is.
Right? Like, that's all it is. You're never going to play through a game on this thing. It's just going to be cool. Like, every once in a while, put this thing on, go, like, you're out with, like, friends, and you, like, go to open your watch up, and, like, oh, look, I could play Legend of Zelda on this thing. You're never actually going to do that. It's just, like, a cool gadget.
And it only has 2 to 4 hours of battery life playing a game.
Yeah.
A watch.
Right. It's a watch.
And that's going to be optimistic, right? Because this is the proof of concept.
Is there going to be a screen on the outside as well, or are you going to have to open it to even tell?
There's a screen on the outside for
Okay.
it's like Apple Watch style screen on the outside.
I don't know. I think this is neat, and for $160,
it's a super cool concept.
Yeah, for $160, I mean, that's a lot cheaper than an Apple Watch. I mean, it's not going to have all the functionality of an Apple Watch.
There's some Apple Watches that are around this price, but
oh, really?
Yeah.
But do they have an FPGA that plays Nintendo
games? They do not. I think it is really cool, and this could be, something where they could sell their technology to something else that's going to be more fleshed out potentially. And I'm worried that this is not going to actually come to fruition. But it is a really cool concept.
It is a really cool thing. And I love that it's got a screen on the outside, so you don't have to open it. It'll just look like kind of like a slightly bulky but regular kind of smartwatch.
Yeah.
I think this thing's neat. I think
it's a cool idea for sure.
I'm gonna leave this tab open. I'll come back to it maybe.
This could take a long time before we see anything actually come of this as well, like years.
But yeah, it's a Kickstarter. I ordered a Dreamcast book off a Kickstarter. I backed the Dreamcast book off a Kickstarter. It was like 4 years before I got it. So these guys make like limited run look like speedsters.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I kickstarted was the Carmageddon remake that they did. That was awful.
Did that come out? No. Oh, it did come out?
It did. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like the base material wasn't like.
Carmageddon was one of my favorite like PC games. The problem was they were using a lot of the original team, and it's
who last made a game in 1996.
Exactly. Like. Like all the love to the original Carmageddon. I absolutely loved that game. But I don't even know if I actually played. I played the demo a few times and it was rough. And I was like, okay, this is not what I'm hoping for. So CES is going right now. One of the things that they have going. Did you move this? Because I had it.
I think we both put this story on.
Okay, I'm gonna delete mine. Should we wait until the end to talk about this?
I think it's fine to talk about now. We're kind of
okay. So they showed off Hyperkin showed off a portable Genesis / Mega Drive, and it looks like a Nintendo Switch, and it also will have a dockable version with like controller ports that you can plug into it.
Yeah. Now, I think even more so than the watch, like Hyperkin has a habit of like showing these things at CES,
they do.
And then you never hear about it again, right? So
last year, what was the thing last year? Do you remember?
Was it the N64, or was that a couple years ago? They've had a bunch of them over the years. Like this looks cool though. It's a handheld, Sega Genesis with like, pretty authentic looking button layout. Obviously, but there's a screen in between. Like pretty neat looking. You plug the cartridge into the top, and then, like you said, like a Nintendo Switch, you can dock it, and then one would presume video out to your TV and have controller ports that, like Sega Genesis style. I think those are 9-pin controller ports. This is a neat little device.
It looks like a Sega Nomad, like 2.0 kind of deal.
Yeah, totally. But with like also the functionality of being able to output, by docking it and using like real controller ports. Although I think the Sega Nomad, you could use controller port. It did have a controller
I'm not
port
sure.
on it,
I'm not sure.
and it definitely had video out. You could definitely hook it up to a TV. But I
Did
mean,
Hyper
modern HDMI.
Who makes the Superboy?
I think
not
that's
Hyperkin, is
Hyperkin.
it? Okay, well then that makes me more excited about this kind of thing because the Superboy actually exists and
It
they are constantly
does,
upgrading it.
but Hyperkin seems to have changed a little bit as a company, right? It's like 5-10 years ago, they're announcing and putting out all this cool stuff that wasn't like super well received by like the hardcore part of the retro game community. But like
Right.
if you're just looking to get into, like, if you want to put your toes in the water,
Mhm.
Hyperkin was kind of like a great place to start because you could go to Amazon, get yourself like a Retron 5, and then pick up a bunch of Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy, Genesis games, and plug all those fuckers in and be playing. Like, yeah, it's not like the most latency free. It is emulation still because it's like downloading the ROM off the cartridge. But hey, like a foot in the door,
Sure.
pretty neat. But they just seem to have really focused on controllers lately, and so I don't know if this will ever come out.
Probably ROI, like, you know, all that. It's like the financial aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because
But
Hyperkin for a long time, they were one of the only solutions.
yeah, good point. Good point.
So when there's a lot of competition, it makes it less of a argument to buy something like a Hyperkin, I think.
Yeah. Also, like, what would be an appropriate price point for this,
It's gonna
knowing
be at
that
least
the
at least
analog
200
pocket
bucks
exists?
probably. Yeah.
That gets to be expensive for something like this, right?
I mean, the Superboy is like 100 bucks, but that doesn't have the dock and everything.
Yeah, that thing's pretty old too. It's got like a really outdated screen on it. Like, that thing's pretty ancient.
It's
I
still a
don't
cool
know.
concept. I mean, for 100
It is
bucks, the
cool.
Superboy is cool for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks like it has more of like a switch screen, so it's gonna be like
It
249
looks like it has the
probably.
switch screen, right?
Yeah. It does.
Like, that's what it looks
Like,
like.
mm.
Eh, like, you could almost mistake this for being like different kind of Joy-Cons, like differently shaped Joy-Cons on a
Right.
Switch.
It is built in too, so it's more like a Steam Deck setup or like a lot of those there's a lot of like emulation handhelds that have that elongated connected controller look too that have come
Yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of them out there right now. They're made in drones from China.
Yeah,
So
those things are selling like hotcakes too.
yes, because they're easy, they're cheap. They're under 100 bucks most of the time, and like you
Yeah.
can load everything on them. And anyways,
Cool.
uh, so this is kind of interesting. Sony has they originally were gonna make 3 NES games, right? During that whole Sony PlayStation, Nintendo PlayStation stuff when that was happening. Sony actually made a Super Sushi pinball game that had been lost, but it has been found and preserved by none other than the National Video Game Foundation, the History Foundation.
Hmm.
So in this news story from Time Extension, they have like some video, which it's like, it's an interesting looking pinball game, but it's like pinball on the NES. How good can it be, right? But
Also, like, yeah, it doesn't look great.
no, it's got like an outrun style like racing thing on one of the screens, but it's just like a
Yeah.
board background. I think the coolest part from what I've seen in the comments, the coolest part of this game is the scrolling story in the beginning of it. It's like a
Yeah.
2-minute long Star Wars style like scroller explaining about the game and the story and all that stuff. It's kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Like, you can see clearly why this never came out.
Well, apparently, like it went through the company's LOT check process.
Uh-huh.
Like they have like a physical demo of this, so it not necessarily through quality checks didn't get made. It could have been more along the lines of like all that
Who
stuff
would buy
behind the
this?
scenes that was happening. I mean, there's multiple pinball games on the NES,
Yeah, that's true.
but there
But
was all
there's
that
only
stuff
one
that
Super
happened.
Sushi pinball.
There's a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes between the Sony, Nintendo, like
Yeah, that's true.
stuff that was happening. So who knows? maybe some more stuff will come out soon. But I thought it was cool that like the History Foundation or Video Game History Foundation's like finding and preserving this stuff.
Yeah,
And I believe they
they're doing
released
good work over there.
a ROM that you can go play at Hidden Palace. So you can actually play this.
Oh, speaking of the Video Game History Foundation, I got a story to tell.
Mm.
So I've been a subscriber to their magazine service, right? It's like, it's a way of like kind of donating small amounts of money. It's like $15 a month, and they'll send you an old video game magazine in the mail, which is kind of neat. I enjoyed it. I like that $15. I feel better about it than a Netflix subscription. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And like sometimes I get a cool magazine, sometimes I get shit, but it's always fun.
Yeah.
One of the quirks about it though is they send the magazine in a black kind of cardboard, like
looks
a black
very
sleeve.
ominous.
It looks very ominous.
Like what you get a nudie magazine in.
What's that? It looks like it's going to be a nudie magazine. Yeah, that's what it totally looks like. 3 months in a row, I got a letter from the post office that my package had been damaged 3 months in a row. So I'm wondering if there is a post office employee out there who sees this black envelope come through. Is like, ooh, new nudie magazine day, and like just rips that shit out, and then like I get a letter that, oh well, your shit got lost in the mail. Like, what am I gonna do about that? I'm not gonna contact Video Game History Foundation and say, oh, I didn't get my old magazine, but like, I don't know, kind of bothering me a little bit.
Yeah, and I imagine a magazine that's getting shipped with the cheapest method possible, probably media mail or whatever contract they have with USPS, is not going to have any kind of insurance on it or anything like that. So there's not really much they can do anyways.
Yeah, it's not their fault. It's like somebody at the post office, I assume, is just like, oh, I know what this is, and then opens it up. Oh, wait, this is a 1999 Game Pro.
The question is, I have 2 questions.
Fucking nerd.
Question number one, after the first time that they figured out it was a magazine, why would they continue to do it?
I don't know, but it's happened 3 months in a row.
Yeah. The second question is, like, what do they call that? Like in-hand nudie magazine subscriptions still exist?
I don't know.
Somebody that living out in the woods, it's their only way to get any kind of media. I mean, they don't have the internet.
Are there like like physical nudie magazine collectors? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, there are for sure. Right?
Mostly, I think from what I've seen, mostly old Playboy stuff. From what I see.
How many RetroTig 4Ks are getting sold to like VHS nudie collectors, like porn VHS collectors?
So almost the best they can hope for is the cover of Lara Croft from '96 or whatever.
Right? Yeah.
Look at those polygons.
Wow.
That is weird. I canceled my subscription, I don't know, probably a year ago. I had it for a good 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And I wasn't reading them, and they were just stacking up. And
yeah,
I think I got like 3 Nintendo Powers, which was really the only one that I wanted. And I was like, if I want Nintendo Power, I guess I could just go buy them because they go for between 10 and 20 bucks a piece usually, except for the early ones.
I just like the surprise of getting in the mail. I never know what's going to show up. And like I read all of those, like all of them, whatever I could get my hands on. It didn't even matter if I like before I had a PC, I'd read like computer and video game magazine.
Yeah, I did too.
I just wanted to like see it, So it's fun to see. It's really fun to see like a magazine that I had when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, look at this.
Do you have like a shelf where you just like have them up, or are they in a bin somewhere?
They're just on a shelf over here. I mean, this is a limited amount of time I can keep up this activity because I'm just going to end up with how many of these am I going to get?
That's what I'm saying. I think I got to that point and I was like, all right, they filled the bin. I'm done.
Yeah. This one was cool. So Link's Awakening got a PC port released and then promptly pulled down by Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have an active game out for the Switch, so
yeah, 100%. You could obviously this is yeah, I mean, you can't blame Nintendo here for protecting this. I was able to download this one though, Jay, and it is really cool
Well,
because
like just looking at this video, it's like widescreen where it shows almost 4 screens worth of map, and it's auto scrolling instead of going through each
right, it's not like
screen.
screen to screen. Also, you can like zoom in and out. Like you can play the game and your link is like a pixel on a 4K monitor. The game
Yeah,
actually
it's
looks
tiny.
fantastic too. Yeah, he's
I'm watching this. Oh yeah, I'm watching the video. Oh, he zooms like all the way out. You can see like the whole map.
right.
You look like an ant. What is this, a game for ants?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. That's
Yeah, I was
super
lucky
cool,
enough
though.
to get a copy of this or download a copy of this before it got shut down, which you knew as soon as you saw it go up, oh, this is going to get shut down
100%.
immediately.
There's like an active trademark for this game because of the new one on Switch. So
Yeah. Yeah. But pretty neat, Pretty neat. And it plays great. It looks great. And it's so neat to be able to see the whole map, but also the way it like auto scrolls. You're not like constantly like,
right.
Zelda-ing like screen to screen. It's very cool. Vinicus Medeiros, I think, developed this. Very cool.
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly touch on the comments of that page that you put for the
Mhm.
Link's Awakening thing. Somebody commented, they're like, I predicted this, I downloaded it already, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody responded to that saying, way to brag about stealing Nintendo's intellectual property and running a hacked version of a game you don't have the right to play, but you're cool.
I have paid Nintendo multiple times for this game.
Yes.
Get off Nintendo's dick.
Somebody's really upset.
Yeah. That was Reggie Fils-Aimé who wrote that.
Like, I'm not the biggest proponent of
Howard
emulated
Lincoln in the
stuff either,
comments.
but it's just like somebody really, really didn't like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was fun. Okay. So the next story, there's like multiple parts to this that was on time extension. So the first part of it is 13-year-old with the screen name is it Blue Scooty or Blue Scuddy? I don't know. I think I'm gonna say Blue Scooty. Beat Tetris.
Yeah.
For the first time in 34 years, right?
That's
Or
insane.
however many. Basically, it had been thought for a long time that like level 29 was kind of the end of the game. But it's not. And there's been some new revelations in like how to play with the rolling technique and stuff like that, where they've been able to get further.
Which version of the
And
game is this? Do you know?
I'm sure it's the original NES game. Would be my guess. That's what it looks like. And so you can get to level over 100, and at some point you get like a kill screen where just everything turns black and you can't do anything. Like it glitches out.
Yeah.
And it had never been done until recently in December. Blue Scooty beat it, and like I don't know if he was live or he put the video on YouTube, and he's 13, right? And so I actually
13.
no, he's
Yeah,
13.
you're 13. Okay.
13. So, and apparently Twitch like took down his account because they thought he was lying about his age. So that's
nice.
something that they're currently dealing with.
Classy move, Twitch.
Yeah, he was interviewed by somebody, and the person who I don't want to even say their name, it's not anybody that I know, but the name was there. And I quote, "Go outside and get some fresh air. Beating a video game is not, not a life aspiration," basically. So he was literally told to go touch grass
by the interviewer.
The interview is like, as a mom, this would be my response. It's like, first of all, nobody asked you. Secondly, this is the first time this has happened in 34 years. It's pretty dang cool. Thirdly, don't yuck this 13-year-old kid's yum, whose dad had passed away a week before he accomplished this.
Oh my God.
And he
really?
dedicated this to his dad, which is super, super neat. I don't know. What do you think about the story?
I think that's awesome, man. What an accomplishment. Like, first person to ever beat Tetris. Like, what?
And apparently 2
I can't
more
wait to see
people
Summoning Salt do a video about it, honestly.
yeah, 2 more people very shortly after, Fractal161 and Pixel Andy also did it within very short amount of
But
time.
they weren't the first.
No, they were not. But there is still apparently some more stuff. Some RNG related to Tetris
Mhm.
where you can get this far, have it not reach the kill screen, and then reset to the beginning of the game.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
like so it is possible to keep going, but it's like some RNG as to whether or not the game will crash or not.
Well, congratulations to Blue Scuddy. That's a hell of an achievement to beat Tetris, man. Like, that's heck. And
Cool.
to that interviewer, go suck an egg. Like, boy, you're gonna be a real unpopular person for a real long time on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really did
Yeah.
fuck up.
Out of touch.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I think I read something that she had like previously during that day, that interviewer had been commenting how she thought this like young dart player was actually like really impressive. So it was like clearly her bias about video games,
sure.
you know.
Sure. Nobody asked you. uh not Briar, the interview. In the
No,
UK is
nobody
getting
asked
some
me
cool
anything.
stuff. UK is getting a cool thing. McDonald's is quietly releasing a Sonic the Hedgehog Happy Meal in the UK and not in the US, and I'm sad about it. It's got Sonic's head on the front of this box, kind of like how they did the Pikachu box. What are the chances
Yeah.
they bring this to the US to promote the 3rd movie coming out at the end of the year?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm kind of impressed that they sell Happy Meals with pineapple in them. Like that's pretty nice. Get a
Is that what
nice
that is?
slice of
It's like a
pineapple.
pineapple stick?
Yeah. Get 4 chicken nuggets, pineapple slice, and a water.
Well, and in the UK, food quality,
Not great.
regulation and stuff. No, food quality regulations in the UK is a whole different ballgame. Like there's so many ingredients. He's cracking up. There's so many ingredients that they can't use. So like the quality of something like McDonald's in the UK is going to be much better than it is here in the US for sure.
Dude, I went to the UK. I went to London for a week one time. The food quality is poor.
Well, it may not taste good,
Yeah.
but the ingredients are much higher quality.
Yeah, it was not good. Not not a culinary.
Are you just talking
delight.
about are you just talking about UK food in general or McDonald's?
No, in general. we went to a
You don't like the
supposedly
bland beans and toast?
we went to a supposedly fancy Italian restaurant and they served us French fries. It was like, I mean, now part of it
Well,
was
you don't
our
like
fault,
French fries, Briar?
not with lasagna.
Well, that's right. Don't you not like French fries?
I don't like French fries.
See, there's some bias here, Briar.
There
You
is
can't be
some
talking
bias.
shit about French fries when you don't even like them.
I don't like French fries. Part of the reason is London, every meal I had came with fucking French fries. And then you know where I went after that? Ireland. Guess what you get more of in Ireland? Potatoes.
I just got reprimanded for yelling and swearing.
Well, very
The
exciting.
kids are home.
It was a very, very tense moment. I'm glad we got through it.
Cooper's now in here sniffing around. All right. So I think so we talked about the Neo Geo Pocket Color
Yeah.
thing. You got the next story.
Oh, speaking of Hyperkin, they are making the original Xbox S controller. So a few years ago, they made the Xbox Duke controller. Like they remade it with like a USB port. You can use it on PC or Xbox. They're doing the same thing with the Xbox S controller. So if you remember that old controller, or if you want to play some retro games like Halo with like kind of the same controller that you used on your original Xbox, it's kind of neat. I always liked the Xbox S controller. I liked the Duke controller as well. I didn't really understand the hate for that. Of course, I was a huge man by the time the Xbox came out, not a small child. So the Duke fit my hands okay, but the S controller certainly was an improvement.
Yeah, no, I was a big fan of the S controller, but I had 2 friends, so it was like a core group of drummer buddies and me.
Yeah.
two buddies and me, and I was always the like black sheep when it came to preferences for
They give
gaming.
you the Duke?
They liked the Duke, I didn't,
Oh,
so I would always have to bring over my S controller, and they both also always would play inverted, and I didn't. So we'd be playing like Halo 1, they'd just be wiping the floor with me, forward tapping me with a pistol from across the map, and I was
inverted
like,
is a
"Let's blow
superior
up."
way to play.
Yeah, I was like, "Let's blow up the Warthog and see how far we can make it fly with a bunch of grenades under it." That's what I like to
Yeah, that was fun
do.
too.
But yeah, they preferred the Duke controller for sure.
Yeah,
I did not.
I liked it. I liked it.
That's fun though.
This story, Jay, you put in here actually
Mhm,
got me
mhm.
pretty excited too. This is kind of neat.
Yeah, I figured. So there's a Game Boy style RoboCop versus Predator game that's out and it's completely free to download. Somebody named Oscar Celestini, I believe it's for PC. My question is like, I imagine you could play this. Like, this would probably go well on like a pocket or something like that too, because it's formatted and looks very much like a Game Boy game. It's like green and all that stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. Seems like it plays quite well.
Mm. Seems like a get it while you can kind of thing. I just downloaded it.
Probably. Yeah.
It looks great. Like the graphically, it looks fantastic.
Somebody said in the comments, the game is fun, but the difficulty's too high.
Mm. We're gonna talk about another game like that soon.
Yes.
Cool. One of my favorite games is RoboCop versus Terminator. Like, no
Mhm.
joke, it's like one of my favorite games. So I'll definitely give this a shot. I love
I still
RoboCops. I
have it
love
sitting right
Predators.
here.
Yeah, yeah, that's a cool one.
I thought the name of this was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
the smallest FPGA, like SNES Classic, it's the smallest FPGA a SNES Classic style machine. I don't know. They just call it the smallest of that kind. It's called SNES Tang.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't know exactly how small it is. They have a video of it playing, and it's got like USB stuff hooked up to it. So I imagine it's like maybe 2 inches or 3 inches by 4 inches, something like that. It's pretty small.
yeah,
The person's playing Street Fighter 2
yeah.
through it. Thought it
There's
was
no
funny.
cartridge slot, right?
Mm-mm.
So it's just
It's like a mister. It's like a tiny mister,
yeah.
basically. But he's gonna have like 50 of the top SNES games preloaded on it,
Oh, that's a mistake.
completely legally.
Mm. Yeah,
I don't know if
better.
he's gonna sell it. I think he's just
Okay. Yeah, well, if he doesn't sell it, I guess. But yeah, if you're gonna make something like this, you can't put the games on it, but you can.
yeah.
It does 720p HDMI. Kind of neat little thing. What makes me excited about stuff like this, like I don't have any real interest in interacting with this device, but the fact that we're not gonna have to rely on analog for these things, right?
Yeah.
It's like when analog decides we're not gonna do the Super Nintendo or the Genesis anymore, it's not gonna be we're out of luck. It's like other companies can do this. Like we're seeing like homebrew developers do it. Like it's just a matter of time before companies like RetroBit or Hyperkin or like other companies like that like kind of figure out how to do this, and we get like a lot more competition in that market. Because as much as I like the analog stuff, I think that some competition in that market would be really, really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got the next one.
Oh, this is neat. Jay, you got to look at the video for this one.
I'm
Symphony of
watching
the
it, yeah.
Night, the Genesis port. This is getting worked on. This is a homebrew kind of guy, but it looks real good. So Symphony of the Night on the Sega Mega Drive in the Genesis. There's a demo available now, but it looks fantastic. Like it just looks amazing. It's hard to believe that this is running on a Genesis. If you go to the link that I gave you, the second video down, I think has more gameplay in it than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine I would argue this looks better than the original.
I would have to look at them side by side for sure. Like it looks outstanding. And I believe he's planning on doing like a full port of the game for the Genesis.
The music, I mean, it's good, but it's very stereotypical Genesis sound.
Yeah, and that jump to CD was pretty big.
Yeah.
CD Red Book Audio was pretty big, and Symphony of the Night pretty famous for its amazing soundtrack. So not easy to. Also, I don't know if he's a programmer and a composer, but I would imagine you got to be pretty close to a composer to be able to
Yeah.
use that Genesis effectively to get what effectively is symphonic sound out of that. But
I
I
mean, it
mean, the
sounds
thing
good,
looks
but it sounds
amazing.
like a Sonic soundtrack a little bit. It has like
Yeah. Let me see if I can play a little bit for that. Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good, honestly, but it's
yeah.
definitely
No,
not
for
Redbook audio.
right. Die Hard.
Die Hard, Jay. Okay, first of all, what'd you think of this game? Did you get to play it much? I know you were
I
really busy over the
I
break
didn't get to
here.
play it a ton, but I did get the gist and I watched some video on it and whatnot. And the takeaway that I have of this game is that it's meant for people who are fans of the movie, like that have watched it, that are familiar with it, that
Yeah.
understand the objectives and stuff like that. And if you aren't familiar with it, you're kind of fish out of water a little bit.
It does actually try to follow the movie as
Very
best as
closely.
an
Yeah.
NES game can. There's even a couple of Easter eggs. So the game is like a top-down, I would say like an Akari Warriors or a Commando kind of style of combat where you got to point your character at your enemies to fire at them, but you can explore more like you got more. You're not just like scrolling up. You can explore like a floor of the what is it, the Nakagami Tower
Mhm.
at a time. So it's an interesting concept, honestly, because
It is a cool concept. The gameplay is difficult because
it's really hard.
specifically when you're like firing and stuff, it's not a one to one what you're pressing on the controller to like what where he's firing on screen. So like if you're pointing in one direction and you want him to fire above you, you have to press left, not up, because he has to turn to fire.
Oh, I
So
didn't get that.
it's a little difficult. At least maybe it was because I was playing on a ROM on a PC and it wasn't
Yeah,
like an
if I
FPGA.
pushed up, then I would fire up. If I
Okay,
pushed
that could have been
diagonal, I
why.
would fire diagonal. So you
It was
fire in 8
difficult.
different directions, and you have
Yeah.
to explore like the goal is to kill I think 40
Thugs.
terrorists.
Yeah.
And then like free the hostages. You don't free the hostages, but like that's how you like win the game, right? You kill all the terrorists before they break into the vault and steal the money and leave, right? You don't get any continues in this game. You don't get any extra lives in this game. You do get a health bar, but along with a health bar, you also get a foot meter because if you sprint or if you walk over broken glass, your foot meter goes down, which you can
Mhm.
refill with health packs.
You move
Y-
very slow if that's low.
Yeah, you move super
Through
slow. You move kind of
molasses.
slow in general. It's really hard to the enemies like have these like spray patterns to their bullets, and their bullets
Yeah,
move pretty quickly
it's like a
compared to how
bullet hell
you
game almost.
yeah, compared to how fast you move, they move really quickly. So it can be just like awkward to get out of the way. Plus, the enemies move pretty quickly, and since you can only fire it in 8 directions, like it's hard to position yourself in a way to shoot them, but also avoid bullets. So you just feel like you just have to tank some damage to kill some people
Yeah.
sometimes.
It is a
Uh,
little easier once you get the SMG because you can then spray similar to how they
yes,
are and catch
that's
them.
true.
But
Um, to me, the game feels very stiff. Like it doesn't feel
right.
super like good. It's pretty impressive with like the graphically, like outside the game, like they have the like
The design is
cutscenes.
really high, in my opinion. The
Yeah,
design, the thoughtfulness they had with the like the story and how it all plays out and
yeah,
the game mechanics and all that stuff, I think was really intelligently designed. But the
yeah,
gameplay can be unforgiving and not fun if
yeah,
you're not like into if you're like a hardcore person and you really enjoy the movie and you really want to like play out that scenario and you're like wanting some difficulty, it's a great game. But for the majority of the player base, I feel like it's kind of a miss
yeah,
just for a game itself, I guess.
yeah. I did like how it has like the digitized pictures of all the characters. Like you got
Mhm.
Carl, like the cop, and you got all the
Carl.
characters talking. Like, it's just kind of fun to see all the characters, and then there's like this fun Easter egg if you go up on the roof and you find, the the fire hose, and you can unravel the fire hose, and he says, "I'm not jumping off of that thing. What are you, crazy?" Like, there's
There's
no way.
multiple ending possibilities too, depending on how
Really?
you play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can break glass and you can walk over the glass, but of course that does damage to your foot meter, which is, a obvious call out to the movie. I don't know. I think I would play this game again, but I would put like a Game Genie cheat code on, so I could just like play through it like
Sure.
casually, because the actual like there's not a lot of fun in the gameplay itself, but the fun it comes from just kind of seeing what the game is doing and like how it unfolds the story and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it plays in real time, by the way. So you have to do things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's not based on any kind of stuff that you're doing in game. There's a timer going, and after a certain amount of time, I think it was like 4-ish real time minutes for every lock, right? So and then once they get through all, is it 6 locks?
Six
Once
or
they get
seven.
through all
Yeah.
locks, then you lose essentially. So you have to beat as many of the bad guys as you can before going to the final floor. And like whatever guys you haven't beat, you have to beat there on that final floor and then get to Hans. And I didn't get to see it firsthand, but I watched a video on it.
Hmm.
Um, it seems really cool,
Yeah.
but
It just doesn't. It's not fun to play. That's the only problem.
no,
It's like, it's a
difficult.
tough one because it's like it does a lot of cool stuff, but it's not fun. So
Yeah,
it's like ultimately, and it's kind of an expensive game now, right? It goes for around $100.
yeah. More than that, I think, just for the cart.
Do you have a copy of it?
I do not. It's one of the
No.
few. It's one of the few in the top 10 that I don't own.
Okay. And boy, you talk about box art that did not age well. Woo!
Yeah,
Holy smokes!
yeah, yeah,
So the
yeah.
box art for this game is supposed to depict the the building
The
in the movie,
explosion. Yeah,
which is like it's called like Nakagawa Tower or something like that. But for
Akagami.
some reason, the box art and the art, even like in the title screen, it makes it look like two tall towers
Yeah,
standing side by side and exploding,
yeah.
which is it's rough.
Nakatomi.
Like, oh, that's not good. But
Nakatomi.
Nakatomi, sorry. Yeah, you can
I
see it on the screen right now. There you go.
I was telling Briar that I haven't, like, I don't know if I've even watched the first movie
Yeah, that
all the
was
way
surprising to
through in
me.
one sitting. I've watched it in bits and pieces over the years, um, but definitely not in the last 10 years. I haven't watched any of the original, and I should have for this, but with the holidays and everything, I didn't. I didn't even think about it, and we were, like, getting ready for the podcast, and I was like, "I should have," and I didn't. 'Cause I didn't realize that the game was gonna be so closely mirrored to the movie,
Yeah.
where you're at a disadvantage if you don't know the story, like, really well.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Like, if you don't know what the goals are in the game, if you don't know how the storyline of the game, of the movie plays out, you don't know that you're supposed to, like, defeat all the guys, go to the different floors, like, what floor the hostages are on. You eventually, like, learn it. It'll, like, give you hints along the way,
Yeah.
but it really, like, would take a lot longer if you don't know anything about the movie, for sure.
I mean, that movie is certainly worth viewing.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for you. Like, I hope you get to watch that movie soon because it's really fun. And then you get like, you're saying like you haven't really seen any of the movies, right? So like the second one is
I've
pretty fun. The third one's pretty fun. Like they're all
I've
kind of
seen bits
fun.
and pieces, and I saw the most recent one. It was, like, whatever, 10 years ago. I remember seeing that one,
Yeah.
but, like, without a proper appreciation of the first few, I think it kind of went over my head a little bit.
Yeah. They're a little bit like the Rambo
Mm.
movies too, whereas like the first Rambo movie is like a really good movie. And then they kind of like evolved into these like action schlock movies, which is
Right,
kind of
right.
the same thing that happened with Die Hard. I would say
Sure.
Die Hard isn't quite as like deep as the first Rambo movie was. It's not as quite as dark as the first Rambo movie was, but it's similar kind of thing. The first Die Hard is just a solid ass movie, and then they kind of like they always got to like one up themselves action wise, like going throughout the series. So it
Mhm.
got a little more ridiculous and ridiculous as it went. But the first one is really good.
I thought it was interesting that the only person in the credits listed in a creative role was one person, and his name's Tony Van, which
Tony
he's done a
Van
lot of
holding it
stuff.
down.
Yeah, he's done but, like, from the stories that I saw, obviously he's not the only one working on development. Like, why is he the only one in the credits? So either they left a bunch of people out or something. I don't know. If anybody knows the story to that, let me know.
Yeah. Back in those days too, is like it wasn't necessarily the person's real name.
No, I think this was.
Yeah.
He's a center head of video game stuff. What is
Oh,
he?
okay.
He's worked on a lot of stuff. Not much of it was great, but he's in like a leadership position somewhere right now. A
Oh,
lot
really?
of his a
They're
lot
still
of the
active in there?
games uh I'm trying to remember. I knew last week I could have told you and I already forgot.
Yeah.
He's been credited on 71 games. The
Wow.
majority of which are like, you know, shovelware type games. My
Top Gun,
Japanese coach,
Jaws.
Cesar Milan's Dog Whisperer, My Chinese Coach, Pets, Cats 2,
How dare
Spanish.
you call that not a good game?
Uh, Trying to remember. I think he works for Ubisoft now,
Okay.
and he's like, man, I'm trying to remember what he's doing now.
Yeah, this
Like
was an
producer
interesting
or
game. Like, I'm
something.
I'm
Yeah,
certainly glad we checked it out. I don't think I'm gonna come back to it. Unless like I just like threw in like a Game Genie code for like invincibility and just like ran through a guide just to see it all. But like the combat just wasn't fun enough to like really keep me engaged in this one. I found it to be
yeah,
mostly just frustrating.
for sure. I found him on LinkedIn. He did work at Ubisoft for a while of mobile product, but now he works at Apple, and he's an engineering project manager
Sure.
for like mobile application development.
Anything else to say about Die Hard?
No, I
Yeah.
do want to find like a game genie kind of code as well, and I wonder if like the PS1 games are better.
Die Hard Arcade is in Die Hard Trilogy. Die Hard Trilogy, I think, came out on PS1, right? Totally different
Yep,
game, more of like a beat 'em up style thing, and they are well liked.
Arcade is on Sega Saturn. It's not
Okay.
for a Saturn game, it's cheap, but it's not necessarily cheap.
Okay.
Cheaper than the NES game, that's for sure. That NES game is the most expensive Die Hard game that exists, I believe.
Oh, really?
It looks like by a good margin.
Okay.
Yeah. Any pickups for you? Or should I?
Um,
Well,
I did get Radiant Silvergun for the Switch, but I don't know. It's over there somewhere.
yeah.
I
So
forgot
I
about it.
figured we could choose the next episode's game based on my pickups. I'm not
Okay.
showing even half of what I've picked up in the last month. Like I said, I've been
Going hard.
in true form. So I have a box full of, I don't know, 15 games that I want to show you guys really quickly. so we'll quickly go through those, and you can tell me if any of them jump out at you, and we can put them in consideration. It's spanning all sorts of different consoles, but we'll start with Genesis Cosmic Space Head Complete in Box. Ah!
Whoa.
So this one's
Whoa, that's a
interesting.
weird looking cartridge.
Yeah, because it's a Codemasters game, so it's got like a
Oh.
really weird manual and cart, and it's got the box is different too because it's it has to hold a different cart. So this, I don't know anything about it, but just thought it was interesting and it was complete in box, so I picked it up. I like interesting weird stuff. 3 Mega Drive games, all from the same seller, and some of my SNES stuff was from the same seller as well. This person on Mercari gave me a killer deal on all this stuff because, and people weren't like going after it because the picture was just of the cover. Like they didn't show the condition of the cart, they didn't show the condition of the manual or anything like that. So
Master
we'll
System,
start
not Mega Drive.
Master System.
Okay.
So ended up buying 5 Master System games from them
Neat.
for about $10 a piece is what I paid. So so RPGs, Golvelius.
I've heard of
What does
that
it say?
game.
Valley of Doom. I'm
Boy,
pretty
that
sure it's
looks
an
like it's
RPG.
brand new.
I know. Like I saw the picture and I was like, the box art looks great. I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a shot.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
I'm just dropping all these carts. So the cart is in great shape. Oh, actually the label on this one was a little not fantastic. I don't know why it's like the box is not holding the cart in place. It just kind of falls out. Anyways, the manual's not in fantastic shape. But they
Well
still have
used. Looks like those
Yeah, they
pages
still
have
have
been browsed.
like pages where they wrote on, but I think it
Cool.
also
You got
has
like the notes from the person who played it.
but it has like the original poster as well, which
Oh,
typically
neat.
posters on Master System games are really tough to get. So for like $10,
It's because we used to
for a
hang them up when we were kids.
40
Be
or
hanging on the
$50
bedroom
game, I'm
wall.
pretty happy. Yeah. Alex Kidd,
Yeah.
The Stars. I'll open this way. Same thing. Great shape cartridge with the manual and the poster. So all of these, the pictures, like the colors on the pictures that I
Yeah.
saw, I was like, that's very
Ooh,
bright.
Wonder Boy
Looks
3.
very lately used. Wonder Boy 3, yeah. So these were like the better games. Again, manual, well used with the poster and the cart and all that stuff and the papers with all the notes on them that I'm gonna keep.
Yeah. What was the
Thought that was
subtitle of
really
that?
fun.
Was that Monster's Trap?
The Dragon's Trap
Dragon's Trap. I think that might be the one
with
they just
password save.
recently. They just recently remade that. I think.
Oh, for the Switch, I think they have like
Yeah.
some
Right.
Alex Kidd stuff or Wonder Boy stuff. Yeah. I might actually have that on the Switch that I got from somebody a long time
I
ago.
think I do too. I'd have to go look at. Actually, if I got Game Eye open right now.
So I have some more stuff that I ended up buying from them SNES wise that I'll show you guys in a minute. I bought like a bunch of stuff, and like half of it was to keep, or probably 2/3 of it was to keep, and then the other third of it was to make all of my money back because it was such a good deal. I got this from the retro store. I don't typically go after not for resale games, but I had a plethora of credit, and they had it priced right at where market goes. So, Excite Bike 64 not for resale cart. The N64 not for resale carts are really tough to come by. And Excite Bike is also one of my favorite N64 games,
Is it
so
really?
I
I've
ended up
never
picking
played
it
it.
up. Yeah, it's really fun. It's a behind the back motocross game essentially, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it was a lot of fun.
I didn't know that was a rare game. Or is it just because it's
Well, the not for resale version
okay,
is.
okay,
The regular one is not. It's very
okay.
cheap. The not for resale stuff on N64 is like harder to come by than most systems, from what I've found. A few 360 games, which I don't collect much for the 360, but I got these for super cheap and they were in such good condition, it's hard for me to let go of them. Blue
Oh, Blue
Dragon, this is
Dragon.
like the Canadian version. I've played this a little bit for 360, but I haven't beat it. Like these are in pristine condition. Like
Yeah.
trying to get the light to all three of these were same from the same person. And this has multiple discs. It has 3 discs, and all of them, if I remember correctly, this has some boogers on it or something.
Mm.
But other than that, like no scratches, some
Good.
fingerprint smudges. But
That was the game. It was made by the Dragon Quest creators, right? And then
yes,
it was
yes.
an early Xbox 360 game in the
Mhm.
hopes to gain popularity in Japan, which of
It's
course
a
worked
really good game.
perfectly.
Like it's a really good RPG.
That's what I've
It's
heard. Yeah. There was
a
another one.
little
It was called
clunky.
like Lost Odyssey that was made by the
That
Final Fantasy game guys that came out at the
is
same
one of
time.
Lost Odyssey is one of my favorite games ever to exist.
Really?
I actually beat it on the 360. It's 4 discs. The only thing that sucks is the intro animation to every fight is like a minute long.
Oof.
It's rough
Not can't
because
skip
they
it.
like it's like glass breaking and then it like comes in. It
You
shows
can't skip it.
every character. No, you can't skip it.
Oof.
I think they updated it at some point for like the Xbox One where you could skip it, but the original you could not. And I played it on 360. But the story, I have never played an RPG where I got so engaged with the characters as I did with that game. And it does not have great reviews. It's like 6.5s to 7.5s on
Yeah, but
reviews.
I've heard a lot of people say that they really
Oh,
like
it's
it,
such a good story. I've never played an RPG that grabbed me the way that that did immediately.
It's
Anyway,
always
so if you
a good idea too with older Xbox and Xbox 360 games is to pop them in your modern Xbox series and see if they're on the backward compatibility list because they did a lot of cool stuff with that, like up upgraded the visuals to 4K. They added HDR. They did some
Mhm.
like improvements, like sometimes like skippable cutscenes. Like who knows what they
I don't
did.
think that I wish that there was a sequel to that game. I'd love to play it. I don't think there is. I think it was a one and
I never
done.
heard of one. Yeah,
So Need for Speed Most Wanted,
that's a
which is
classic.
the 2015 or 2005 version or whatever. This is the
Is
sought
it?
after one.
That was the remake, right?
No, well,
S-
no. This is the
That
original
was
360 one.
originally wasn't that originally a PlayStation 1 game that got remade in like 2015 or something like that, or not
This
2015, like 2000 something.
this is this did get remade in like 2015, but this is the original version, and it's not on. It's on like GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo
Maybe
DS,
I'm thinking of Hot
PlayStation
Pursuit.
2. They did remake this, but this is the version that's sought after, and specifically on the 360 for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most valuable Need for Speed game that exists
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. Um, and I, normally wouldn't keep this stuff, but this again is from that same seller that I bought a lot of 360 games for like $3 a piece or something like that. And I kept the few that I really wanted. But look at this disc. It's like it's never been played. So when I get games in this good of condition that are kind of sought after and rare, it's really hard for me to get rid of them.
Interesting.
Because in this condition, like it demands a premium too. Because most of the time I've ever seen this game, the disc scratched
The Xbox
super
360 was
crazy.
kind of notorious for scratching discs, right?
Yeah. So like even the plastic like on the case is super clean and
Yeah.
just I don't know. So I'll hold on to this for a while. This is another one too. I got this from a Goodwill, actually from the same city that I live in, apparently online. Like I bought it online from Goodwill, but it like shipped and it had a receipt that's like 15 minutes away from me.
Oh, interesting.
Uh, but I figured you'd enjoy it.
Oh, Raiden
Raiden
4. Yeah,
4
I have a
for the
copy of that.
360. It's come down in value, but this has the music CD attached as well.
Oh, neat.
So, but I got it for $20.
Cool.
Pretty happy with that.
20
It's in
bucks.
really good shape.
That's great.
So yeah, so added those to the collection. And all right, so I got the rest of them are boxed for Nintendo systems. We'll start with this one because I'm sure it'll be your favorite. The Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction for the N64. It's in great shape, other than that like ding on the front. I got it from Eastar Land. Got like something hit it or landed on it or
Yeah.
something like that, punctured the front a little bit. But it's hard to get, boxed stuff, and I have a bunch of Eastar Land credits, so sometimes I take chances on that. I bought this from a seller on price charting. I've been wanting to get a complete copy of this. This I want to put in my stack of potential for the next episode. Saturday Night Slam Masters for the
Interesting.
SNES.
Okay.
It's an obscure game. I think it's a really good one, but it's like a wrestling fighting game.
Yeah. I
Be
think it's got
fun to
Mike
play.
Hagar as one of the combatants, doesn't it? One of the Final Fight guys.
That I don't know.
I think it does.
I don't know a lot about it. That's why I want to play it so I can
Yeah.
research it. But
I'm kind
this
of into
copy
it
just
too.
has the manual in it, so it's in good shape, but it doesn't have like the registration card or the poster or anything because it's just really hard to come by. Got this from somebody on eBay. Brutal Paws of Fury.
Oh God.
Another one
I
of those
sadly bought that game when it was brand
Did
new
you?
for the Sega
Oh.
CD. Oh, what a fucking regretful day that was. What a pile of shit that game is.
I got it for $20. It's kind of like the Primal Rage stuff. It's like it's not a good game.
Yeah,
But it's kind of funny.
Worse than Primal Rage.
Primal Rage was on our list too. We could
Yeah.
add that to the consideration. So so this one's also from Eastar Land. I was very surprised by the quality. SNES Bulls and Blazers. I think I got this for like $7 credit on Eastar Land or something.
Yeah.
And it's got all the inserts and posters and everything.
Oh, neat.
Which, I'm a Blazers fan too, so that's kind of why I got this. I'm not really big
cool.
into sports games, but this one I went after because it was cheap and I had a bunch of credit. So the other three were these three are the three that I'm keeping from that seller that did the Master System games. So the ones that I like upgraded some because the carts were like pristine, looked like they had never been used. So I upgraded some components to my ActRaiser 2, my Aero the Acrobat, my Mega Man X, and my Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was switching out parts, but I'm going to sell the rest of those to make all of my money back on the stuff that I'm keeping. So the first one that I got from them, obscure game, Adventures of Yogi Bear on the SNES complete in box.
Wow.
Again, I just want to quickly show you. This is the same person with those Master System games. So you open and it was again, the only thing I saw on Macari was a picture of the front of the box. That's it. They didn't have any other pictures, so I took a chance. Price was right. I was like, hey, you know what? If it's beat up and it only has the card, it's still worth it. But like, still in the plastic, still has the like cart dust holder. And I just want you to see how clean these labels are. In every single one of these carts,
Yeah, the Yogi Bear
labels.
game didn't get a lot of play, it would appear.
No. Well, none of them did. Like the Mega Man X is just as pristine of a cart as this one is. So I'm guessing original owner put him in the closet or something, and then they were just like clearing out stuff, and I was the lucky recipient. Um, they had a couple of other games that I wanted to get, but the price wasn't there, so I didn't pull the trigger on those. Uh, Ren and Stimpy Vidiots. Again, same story here. Just has the manual in it, but the cart's pristine. Box is a little beat up, but I think I got this for 20 Vidiots, and yeah, Yogi Bear was 20. And then this one was a little bit more. I think I paid 50 for this, but
I ran across some clips of Ren and Stimpy on YouTube a few days ago. I was like, I can't believe they showed this on TV. It's
for kids,
so
yeah.
disgusting.
No. But Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, this is one that I wanted to put on my potential list. It's like this is actually just a fighting game. This is not what I thought this was like a Final Fight type game. But I don't know. So just want to quickly, all of the carts look like this. All of them.
Nice and clean.
I'm trying to shine like unplayed almost. That's fun. So that's the end of what I'm showing. There's more stuff.
Wow.
But these were like the highlights. I got actually a 500 gig PlayStation 3 in box. They shipped it. It's sitting right here. I just want to quickly show you. Just a quick note on shipping stuff. When you're shipping stuff, please don't do what this person did. So I got this super
Oh, you
slim
got the
500
top
gig.
loader slim.
So it was like, I think I paid $140 for this.
Nice. I have one of those,
And-
but it's white.
Oh yeah. I got this in the mail, and I immediately knew when I checked my front porch that I was going to be rolling my eyes because
it showed up like
it
that.
showed up and it was wrapped in gift wrap.
Gift wrap.
Like Christmas gift wrap. They just wrapped this box.
Yeah.
They didn't put it in any kind of protection or anything. So it was gift wrapped, like double gift wrapped, and then they put the shipping label on top of it. But I have to show you this console. If the seal wasn't broken on this, it would be 100% brand new. Everything inside of it, components wise, is still sealed and brand new, like unused.
Yeah, that version of the console didn't come out until very late in the PS3, like right before the PS4 came out. Like, because it was the second version of the slim PS3. So there was the original PS3, and then the slim PS3, and then that version, which has like a top loading. Like, it doesn't even have a disk drive. It has like a top loading thing. And people don't like it, but I like it because it's so simple.
Right.
Like, you don't have to worry about a disk drive, like, the motor that puts the disc in. Because my PlayStation 3, I had, everybody talks about the Xbox 360 being a piece of shit and dying all the time, but my PS3s, I had 2 of them die.
It's like it's more like a GameCube disc setup, and you just kind of put it on the spindle and it spins.
Yeah, you place it down instead of having it like suck in the disc like on other PlayStations.
So the PlayStation 3 itself still has the original like tape over the top.
Yeah.
Like it is brand new. Everything inside is brand new. So I think it goes for like 300 to 400 in that condition, but the box is a little dinged up and it's got like a rip on the back. Like somebody opened it aggressively, like it's kind of ripped here
It's
on the
fucking Christmas, man. Gotta get that PlayStation 3 out of here.
Yeah. It's Netflix ready, Briar.
That's right. I wonder if that's one of the consoles. Do you remember? I know with the Wii, you had to get a Netflix disc to play Netflix movies on it. I wonder if the PS3 was like that, or if they had an app.
That is a good question. That is a good question. I'm pretty sure they had an app, but yes, I do remember the
I wonder
Wii
if the app
Netflix
still works.
discs. Like, are they regularly updating it and stuff?
I mean, I just wonder if it works. Like, if I can boot up my PS3 and
why not
start watching movies
I imagine
on the PS.
so. I imagine
on
so.
Netflix app.
'Cause I think people still have like their 360 and stuff that they use as a media box.
Yeah, really?
I
That
think
must be
so.
hellish. The thing got real slow toward the end. I mean, although they put like custom software on them, right? Like they jailbreak them to
The
put
original
custom,
Xboxes they did, yeah,
like Cody
often.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, on the original
Yeah.
Xboxes they did. Because
I
the
remember the
original Xbox
Blade
was
software, like the original
yes,
Xbox 360 Blade. That was so cool. Man, they fucked
yes.
that up. That got terrible by the end. They still haven't really recovered, actually, to be honest with you. Xbox interface still kind of all over the place.
Yep,
All right, Jay. You got to make a decision here, man. What's
I
it going to be
do.
for next week?
I kinda wanted to go with one of the games that I was pulling out here, so
Yeah.
or we could do Primal Rage. So we'll put Primal Rage in there. Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Primal Rage has been on the list for a while. But
Yeah,
Saturday Night Slam Masters looks fun too. I've never really
it
put
does.
any time into that.
I really so how about this? Between Primal Rage and Saturday Night Slam Masters.
I gotta go Saturday night.
It does look like it looks like the final fight guy in the green pants right there.
Yeah, Mike Hagar.
Yeah, the big dude.
Yeah,
Does it even say who? Yeah, Capcom's the developer.
yeah.
Hagar's Spinning Pile Driver and Rasta's Dreadlock Drop.
The Dreadlock Drop. I like it.
Let me read the back so you guys can get excited. It says, "Get
Okay.
ready to bust some heads. It's Saturday night and the Slam Masters have arrived. 10 of the biggest and beefiest wrestlers to ever step into the ring have gathered for one bone-crushing, back-breaking tournament where there are no rules." Sounds fun.
Yeah.
10 wrestlers, 1 to 2 player simultaneous action, 4-player action with multiplayer adapter. I didn't realize this was a multi-tap game. Play
Oh,
4
really?
player.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
24 megs.
I wonder
of
if that game's
hard-hitting
on
action.
Fightcade. Like, if you could play a 4-player match like today.
That's a good question.
That's worth looking into. I might have to look into that.
That's fun. All right. I'm excited. Because
There's
I had been
definitely
looking.
people who have that mastered, right?
Yeah. It's a hard game to find complete in box in decent shape.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not one that
It's not necessarily like a uncommon game though, is it? Like to find
like a cart's
cartridge?
like 20 to 25, something
Okay.
like that.
Not crazy.
Complete in box is around 100-ish, but it's just it doesn't come up often.
Okay. All right, Jay. I think we should wrap this one up. We'll do Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right, sounds good. That's gonna be fun.
Excited.
Thank you all for watching, listening, whatever you're doing, feeling the episode. Hope you're feeling this episode.
You're still here.
Yeah, thank you all for watching or listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Play some Saturday Night Slam Masters in between. Let us know your thoughts about the game. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you. Bye.